Hey everyone, just got back from a great meeting with an agent here in Madrid and just talking about just real estate. She's in particular was struggling with seller and buyer come to terms on a deal. And it occurred to me there were two key questions that neither the listing agent nor the buyer agent asked in either case. And it got to me thinking like, hey, agents probably aren't typically don't ask these questions, and it will absolutely hold back your business. It will absolutely hurt your referral business. And those two questions, when you're sort of taking a listing, working with a buyer, or dealing with other agents on the other side, is to understand what the goals of that person on the other side of your, on the other side of the table, what their true goals are. And oftentimes when we ask like, hey, what do you want to achieve? Why do you want to sell? Why do you want to buy? We leave it on the surface level. Like, cool, they give you a response. I'm commuting 3 hours each way, and we'll just stop at that. The two questions you got to ask after that, number one is, if you're going to save that 3 hours each way, why is that important to you? Right? Because everybody's why and why they do things, it's language is subjective, right? You got to understand, not at the intellectual level, not at the logical level, rational level, but the emotional level. Why is that important to you? And you probably have to ask that a couple times, 2 or 3 times. All right, cool. Why is saving 3 hours important to you? Cool. All right, well, you could be home earlier. All right, well, why is it important being home earlier, right? Oh, because I don't get to see your kids. It's like, oh, you're not seeing your kids? Then the second question comes into place, right? So why is it that important to you? Is number one. Number two is, cool, if you can see your kids more, how would that change things for you, right? How would that change your life if you can see your kids more often? Now, the reason I'm bringing this case up is because this is a real life example of a case that I had early on in my career where somebody was going back and forth. And if I just left it at the, hey, I want to save 3 hours, which is, most agents are like, cool, yeah, man, it's logical. Just want to save some time. However, if I didn't dig deeper, it would have hurt the transaction, maybe even created the transaction later in the game, because I didn't know what his true motivation, his emotional motivation was. So when I asked those questions, I learned that, hey, he was missing out on his kids' times. He was missing the first step, right? The first words. And then I asked that question, like, well, how would that change your life? Yeah, how will that impact your life if you were able to save those 3 hours and spend more time with your kids? And what I found out was his dad wasn't there for him, right? And he had promised himself early on in his before he became a parent, that he was going to be a better father than his father was to him, right? So fast forward into the transaction, in the walkthrough, there was an argument about curtains that got taken, right? I don't know how much the curtains were, but I feel like it was $50, $100 for a $500,000 listing. And here, the deal is about to crater. Egos are up, they're fighting, nobody's focused on who their true goals are, right? And I had to pull them aside and be like, hey, listen, remember I told you I'm not a realtor, I'm a real estate advisor, your financial advisor in the real estate space. You told me your goal was this. Now I'll fight tooth and nail for you, man. Like, if the $50 or the $100 curtains are more important than what you said, early on in the process, you said your main goal was, hey, you want to be home for your kids, you want to be a better father than your father was for you. Then cool, man, I'll fight for the $50 curtains and the $100 curtains. However, you're the only one who can tell me which goal matters most. You tell me that, I'll rock and roll and I'll fight for you. And then, yeah, man, he sat back and reflected. He's like, yeah, right. I'm sort of making this argument, winning this negotiation over $50, $100. That all of a sudden became the goal rather than what the true goal was. And the only way you're going to be able to find out and enroll people to do the things that are in alignment with their goals is to ask questions about what their true goals are and not leave it on the intellectual, rational, logical level. You got to get to that emotional underpinning, which truly is driving them. And sometimes when you're having these conversations, the client might be like, hey, man, why are you asking me these questions? I just want to sell my house. And then you got to back it up and say, hey, listen, I'm here to guide you through what is typically the largest financial transaction in many people's lives. And I don't sell real estate. What I sell is a process, a guide to get you from point A to point B. Frankly, I'm here to help you achieve your goals. And there's no way I can help you achieve your goals unless I know what they actually are, right? And that should really get them enrolled in the process. And if they're not, and they're like, man, listen, just go sell my house, I don't need to talk about all this stuff, then it might be, a next moment, right? In any case, remember those questions. Why is that important to you? And that's not going to be just a one-time question. You're going to probably layer that up a couple times, 2-3 times. And then all right, if you did achieve that, how would that change your life? What would that look like? Have them imagine what that result looks like. And now you understand their true goals. Thank you again for listening to this video. Again, if you're enjoying this content and you're learning from this, please like it, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and hey, we're training on a lot of different topics just like this here at Game Changers at EXP. Give me a call. I'll do a free business consultation, see where you're at, see where we can get you. Have a great day.